all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Good evening and welcome everybody to another episode of Main Gate Magic. I'm your host Jason Braden, and not with me tonight is my wife Lisa and my co-host Mimi. They were not able to join the podcast tonight. I know, it's very sad news. But it's okay because on last minute notice, I got my friend, my good buddy, Mr. Fun Facts himself, the Disney guy, Joshua Schaefer. Joshua, welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's good to be here. It's been, what,
Yes.
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I know, it's been forever. It's like we never talked to each other anymore.
It's been a long time.
I know. Thanks for hopping on at last minute. I really, really do appreciate it.
No problem.
So, if you guys missed last week's episode, it was just a lot of news and blah, blah, blah stuff, talking about things that are going to be upcoming, future guests, news from the Disney parks, the Disney cruise lines, etc. Today's show is literally just about my solo trip at Disneyland, my redo from the trip when I was sick. I had talked about it at length on the last show because I was just so disappointed about it, but this particular trip was a major success. Had lots of fun. Yes, of course, yeah, lots of fun. And it just couldn't have gone better. I didn't have really I had one negative experience, but it had nothing to do with anybody that was a cast member at the park itself or in either of the parks. It was another guest who was just using some language that I had to say, excuse me, this is a family park, please watch your language. But I digress. So anyway, we are here just to talk about all the observations that I had. There's quite a bit of things I feel like to talk about. But before I do, I'm going to apologize for those who normally are watching on Facebook that are not able to watch on Facebook. I posted a link at last minute to our Facebook page because apparently Facebook has a new rule for professional accounts like ours that you have to have a certain amount of criteria met to be able to go live now. I personally received no communication about this. If I did, if it went to my spam folder or whatever, I have no idea, but I didn't see anything about it until I actually jumped on StreamYard today to prepare for today's show. And one of those qualifications is that you have to have 100 followers in order to be able to live stream now. Unfortunately, we are not quite there yet. At the time that I posted a video to TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, I'm only at 68. So if you are watching this or even listening to the audio later and you have not subscribed to my channel yet on Facebook, please hop on over and make sure that you guys follow, you like, tell your friends, like I said, your congressman, your Uber driver, your Lyft driver, your DoorDasher, the family dog, everybody that you can think of to do the same thing because it'll really help the channel and I'll be able to actually start streaming back on Facebook Live again. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about the trip. Now, I drove down, I left here on Friday and I drove down. It took probably like a total of 7 hours. I did an Airbnb. Traffic was a nightmare out of the Bay Area, but it was smooth sailing from there all the way down. And my first park was Disneyland on Saturday morning. Now, I left my Airbnb, I thought early enough, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it in time for rope drop. I looked at the directions of how to get to the park from where I was, but I didn't think that I was going to make it in time, for the rope drop, and I made it in plenty of time, so I was very happy to be able to do that. And surprisingly, the crowds were like hardly anything at all. Now, I've been seeing other podcasts and video updates like from Fresh Baked and other people that are on YouTube saying that the crowds are just not as crazy as they used to be anymore. Have you been hearing the same, Josh, or have you got
Um,
no finger on the pulse
I
of that?
I haven't heard anything about the difference in attendance. I do know that they're going to be dropping the pre
The park prices,
choosing.
yeah.
No, the pre where you have to pick a day and then reserve that day to
Oh,
go in, unless they already have. But if you were just there, you would know. Did you have to reserve a day?
I did. I
Yeah. Okay. So
did.
they haven't dropped it yet.
When
But
you
that's
say drop it, what do you
that means
mean
they
they're
won't be
gonna?
doing it anymore. They just have the tickets
Oh,
and go.
yeah, no, I have not heard about that at all. Now, the only thing that I did hear about recently, as far as reserving or even getting tickets in advance, is that they are going to be doing some a drop in price of tickets for multiple days through the summer.
Oh, that's
Now,
good.
yeah, and I think they said it's going to be up to like $50 per package or something like that, which is it's considerable. I mean, I know that when you get discounts for Disney, whether it's through an employee discount program or if they drop the price themselves, that's really about the most you're going to see for a multiple day ticket. But I think any discount is going to be welcomed from a lot of people who are just not happy about all the price increases there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, park crowds very. I mean, because when I got to I was actually able to drive to the park this time. I was able to use my magic key to get free parking into the Pixar parking lot right next to Mickey and Pals or Mickey and Friends, and even the security line to get into the area where you went on the tram. It was practically I just walked right through. And I'm like,
That's
wow, this is
good.
going to be a really slow day. And then when I got to the main gate, it was, I think everything was open. Usually, if you get through security, you hop on the tram, you go to the front, there's still lines backed up for people to be let in. There was no lines at all. Walked right in, headed down Main Street, headed to Tomorrowland, and there was a crowd waiting for the ropes to drop, but it wasn't really that bad. And I was just super surprised. And I heard the announcement for the first time, I think, where they dropped the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls thing, and it's a very quick spiel now. It doesn't even say we're about to open or anything like that. It just goes, "Welcome to the park. Please, be careful going to your first attraction." Basically saying, "Don't run."
Yeah.
And of course, when the ropes did drop and the crowd started going through, heading to Space Mountain, everybody was running, and the cast members over at the cast members at the Astro Orbiter and even Star Tours, and I think even a couple of Buzz Lightyear were just like going, "Please walk to your first destination, please walk." And I saw people running, I saw people jog walking. It's just something to expect when you're there. I mean, I don't know if I can blame them because I was young once and I got excited about going on there and I got to be the first in line and everything, but
Yeah.
nowadays, especially with a magic key holder, as a magic key holder, I'm in no rush. I didn't even need to be there that early. I just like to be there early. That's all. Let's see. Patricia is online. She says hi guys, and she says glad the trip was better. Thank you, Patricia, and thanks for hopping over onto YouTube because I think you do normally join on Facebook. Oh look, and somebody else. Josh Schaefer says, "Oh, who's this Josh Schaefer guy?" And what's that weird looking character next to?
I don't
um, so some observations from the first day. I had a lot of energy, but one of the things that I noticed on the second day, and I'll get to the second day stuff a little bit later, but I found that as I get older, I lose motivation when I'm not in the park, and I just want to sleep in. I don't want to get up early. I want to just rest as long as I can and come in later on. And usually when Lisa and I go together, that's kind of what we do. We just
Sleep
take
in.
our time and everything. But on solo trips, I want to get there soon, especially when I'm only there for 2 days. But on the second day, I found really a lack of motivation to go there. And then I got up. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go. I did stroll in a little bit later. The crowds were a little bit bigger on the second day. But I found as I was driving up to the gate where they were, where you get into the parking structure, that's when the energy hit me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm here. It's my last day. I
You
got to
can
really
start
make the
hearing
most
the
of this.
music and smelling the
Yeah,
smells, and then it hits you.
everything. Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't even, I didn't even need to be in the park. I just needed to be in the parking structure. And then I'm like, just the thought of being able to take the tram, because I mean, normally when we go down there, we're staying at our at the partner resorts for our timeshare, and
Mhm.
we take public transportation over there. It's a system called oh my gosh, what is it called? This is where I need Lisa because I'm losing track my train of thought. There's a bus system basically that goes from all the major hotels around the area directly to the parks and back and forth. They have timed scheduled stuff during the day, and you can also get shuttles on demand after a certain time of day as well by using the app. It'll come to me later. Not important right now. But anyway, we usually take that, and it takes you to the bus drop-off area, which is just right off of Harbor Boulevard, across from where all the hotels are and everything like that. So I'm not used to taking the tram anymore, but I was able to take the tram on this particular trip, so I was super excited about that. And I know it sounds silly, but if you guys have been going to the park as long as I have, it's something that is part of the experience. It's just something that I love.
I like that they moved security over to the parking structure and not down in the promenade, so that you have to go through them. Everybody backs up into downtown Disney,
Right.
line up to go in, and now that doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, everything is at the parking structure. So for those who've never been to Disneyland, and if you're listening or watching this, I sincerely doubt that, but if there is any, the like Josh said, the security used to be all crammed at the Esplanade, where like right in between the two parks, and the lines for that used to be horrendous. But ever since they opened up the new wing, I'll call it, of the parking structure next to Mickey and Friends, which is now the Pixar parking structure, the very first floor at the ground level, they have all the security now. So you go in through the security there, you hop on the tram, and as soon as you get let off the tram, you just go right to the main gate, and it's all settled. Now, if you come in from, what is it, downtown Disney, there is a security area.
It's on that end.
Right, but it's on the far end near the Disneyland Hotel, I think.
Down by where the theater was.
Right, so if you're parking and you normally park like where you come in to go to downtown Disney in that area, you'd have to go through security there. But if you're coming in from Harbor Boulevard, as you're walking towards the Esplanade, there is another security checkpoint area there to come in from that side. So 3 security checkpoints total. But yeah, in my personal experience, the tram is the best way to go if you're able to do it. Parking's expensive, but hey, we're
$35 now, I heard.
Yep, $35. And they do offer preferred parking for an extra $20. You can they kind of put you as close to the escalators as possible. So if you have, disabilities or well, not disabilities. If you got a disability, then you probably have a handicap placard, and you can just go to the handicap parking, which is close. But if you're not, and you're just lazy, and you know that at the end of the day you're going to be tired as hell, and you don't want to walk another mile to get to your car wherever it may have been parked, you can pay an extra $20, and they will park you as close to the escalator as possible. So that way, when you go up to the very top, your car is right there. You hop in and you leave, and it's very, very convenient. So we've done it before. It's totally worth it, in my opinion. Especially if you're a Magic Key holder, and that's the only thing you're paying for parking, because parking is included with I think all of the Magic Keys. Do you know?
I'm not up with the current prices. I'm the history. I'll tell you what the prices were before.
No, that's not going to make any difference right now, unfortunately, but that's okay. Okay, so observations from day one. The first ride I hit, Space Mountain. Yeah, I have to say, I had to kind of think about it, because when I went on it before, on the last trip, it was still Hyperspace Mountain, because they were celebrating the Season of the Force. But it's the overlay's already gone. I think Season of the Force ended on June 2nd, if I remember correctly from the last episode. And it's just regular Space Mountain now. I like Hyperspace Mountain better.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like it better.
So why don't you tell me why you like it better, and then I'll see if maybe, my reasoning is the same as yours.
So even over top of Ghost Galaxy, when it's the Halloween theme,
right.
I like, for some reason, just regular Space Mountain. It's just dark. Like, yeah, they have the asteroids up at the top, but like then it's dark the whole ride. But at least Ghost Galaxy, there's something going on. You're being chased by a space demon, but then they have Star Wars. And like, then you're like, oh my gosh, there comes TIE fighters and beep, beep,
laser
beep.
beams and
Yeah,
right, yeah,
you're just
pew
like
pew
you're kind
pew.
of like in a movie. Then it's like a movie themed rather than a space themed where you're in darkness. So the original Space Mountain is more like what real outer space is like versus, the with Star Wars in it, it's more like you're in a movie.
Yeah, you're part of the action for
Yeah.
real. I mean, Space Mountain is a fantastic ride, regardless. It's still the same coaster.
Yes.
But the overlay definitely makes a difference, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And my reasoning is slightly different from yours, but I mean, I totally agree because when there's the overlay, there's all these projections and everything. And I've done Ghost Galaxy before. I'm not as big of a fan of that as I am of Hyperspace Mountain because of the fact that obviously it's Star Wars, number one, and number two, Ghosts in Space. I don't know. For some reason it clashes with my brain a little bit, and
It's an outer space demon. They're all over
I
the
know,
place.
but I don't know. I just don't subscribe to it as well as I do with Star Wars themes,
Yeah.
obviously. But one of the other things that I thought was really cool is that Hyperspace Mountain does seem to be, they may do this intentionally. I feel like it's darker inside the mountain when it's Hyperspace Mountain, and that to me makes it even more intense, and I think makes it at least feel like you're going faster.
So it's like darker in the dark areas unless there's projections.
I think what they do is they don't project as many stars because I'll bet you it probably interferes with the projections that they're doing throughout the entire ride.
Mhm.
And there's just like so much going on with, like you said, TIE fighters and X-Wings. And, you're actually supposed to be an X-Wing fighter fighting with, the TIE fighters and the Star Destroyer and stuff like that. And there's even one spot where you feel like you're going to like run into a TIE fighter head on, but then it dips down. It's like my
Yeah.
favorite part of the ride, regardless of what the overlay is, if there is any. And it's just so much more exciting. So that was my main observation, because when I went on it again for this particular trip, I was like, huh, that was fun, but not as fun as the overlay. So anyway, my observations on Space Mountain. So
Did you know that it's actually a taller roller coaster than the Matterhorn bobsleds, but because it's in the ground, you don't realize it because the track in the
'cause it's
Matterhorn
sunk
only
in,
goes
right?
up 2/3 of the way up the mountain. So the height of the track that you travel from here
Yeah,
up
that
to
makes
here and back
sense.
down is shorter on even though the Matterhorn's a lot taller, it just looks that way. And then Space Mountain was put in the ground. And they did that intentionally so it wasn't as tall as they didn't want to come close to the Matterhorn being so close to it, so they put it in the ground.
I mean, the Matterhorn is kind of like a pinnacle of the park. You
Yes.
just look and you can see it pretty much, well, not from anywhere in the park, but it is one of the things that you can look around and be like, oh, there's the Matterhorn. I know where to go to
From
from
the
here.
freeway. Oh my gosh,
Right? Yeah, I
Disneyland's
know
right over
exactly.
there. Yeah.
Well, and as far as I know, you can still watch the Matterhorn, or at least see the Matterhorn through the Hojo webcam. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The Howard
What?
Johnson webcam, the hotel that's across the street on Harbor.
They have like
They
a
they
live view of it?
they have a live webcam that, I mean, at least they did the last time that I checked a few years ago. I mean, I don't know if it's
Huh.
still there, but they've had it for years. I think ever
Interesting.
since webcams became a thing.
Huh.
So yeah, if you wanted to see like what the current weather looks like, or I think
Yeah.
you can click on there at night and you can see the fireworks and stuff like
That's
that.
really
But
cool.
I know, yeah, it's not. I don't think a lot of people know about it, but they've had it for a long, long time, and it's just a neat little. It's my own neat little fun fact.
Yeah.
um. So I think I hit most of the stuff at Tomorrowland in the beginning in the morning before I had to finally settle down and eat breakfast, and then I went on Astro Blasters. Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. And I learned one very important lesson from this particular ride, and that is I suck. I am horrible at Astro Blasters.
I learned that if you max out your score, you should continue shooting because the
Yes.
computer will continue adding it up even though the screen reaches 99999.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, is that getting to that spot is very difficult.
Well, it's because the spot you need to get is right here.
Yes, I know, and that's what I was getting to. So at the end of the ride, and this is all part of the magic of Disneyland, because you can talk to other people and be like, hey, what's your recommendation for this or whatever? I mean, whether it's a cast member or just a guest at the park itself, just like you, Everybody's got an answer about something. So at the end of the ride, I was like at 135,000 points. It was pathetic. I want to say I was like very low at the bottom score. I was barely even a cadet. So the guy in front of me, as soon as the ride stopped and the guns were off and the thing was starting to lower, I saw his score in the car in front of me. He was like over 700,000. And the guy in front of him, who I think was with him as well, they just took separate cars, was over 500,000. I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong? And I asked the guy in front of me, I said, please tell me. I said, I've heard different things, from different people about the right place to shoot. And yeah, they said just the same thing you did. You have to hit Zurg's chest, number one. And number two, there's like a thin line in the middle of that target that you have to hit. It's not just anywhere on the square. It has to be like dead center. There's like a line apparently up and down that you have to hit. And then also, there is, if the square on his chest is lit, it's worth more points as well. And
Yeah,
I had thought, go ahead.
there's a crease in like his armor right here, so there is a line down his chest, and the
Right.
hole is about the size of a dime. But it's
Right.
not marked; it's just a hole. Yeah. How can you
Right.
aim so good? And that's
Right,
why he says
exactly.
it. Hit it, and that's
Yeah. And I never really listened to that kind of stuff, but maybe I should start listening to stuff like that from now on. But anyway, I had always thought that if you hit the target, that's when it lights up. But apparently the lights that are on the outermost edge of the squares, if it lights up at that point, that's when you should really be shooting at the target because it's worth a lot more points after it's lit. But I never even knew that. So if you guys are going to Disneyland and you want to actually get some points on Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, that is the trick. Aim for the center of Zurg's chest where that dime spot is that Josh mentioned, and also make sure that the targets are lit when you shoot them. That's the important thing.
It's in my book.
It is. And what is your book called, Josh?
Oh, my book is called "Discovering the Magic Kingdom: An Unofficial Disneyland Vacation Guide." 100 pages of fun facts. So
how many? So you said over 700 pages. And how many fun facts are in that book, Josh?
Over 3,700.
Oh my God! And is that the first book that you ever wrote?
This is my second one.
That is the second one. And how many pages was that one? And how many fun facts did that have?
The first one had a little over 1,000 fun facts, but it was only 210 pages. It was a lot thinner. Then I spent 7 years writing this monstrosity that can stand up without a bookend. Like
this particular moment of Main Gate Magic podcast has been brought to you by DisneyGuide.org.
Yeah, so I broke down the point values and stuff, and where to hit the target, and like when to hit it, which ones are worth more. What's really great is when you have people in line behind you who are like in wheelchairs and stuff, because they have to stop the ride for them to get on.
Yes.
And then you're stopped in one point, and then you brace your hand. You just
shoot. Yep. You just keep shooting.
Just keep shooting in one spot. Try to hold it. And then they have the hidden targets when you go into the tunnel. They don't have an outline. They're just like
the Z's.
Hard to see. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see it. Like some people hit them and they light up, and you can kind of get an idea of where they're at. But yeah, otherwise it's kind of hard to find. You just sort of have to start shooting until you see something light up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another thing is in that final scene when you're shooting Zurg before you're done, if you look up on the wall in the back, there's a sun and a moon up toward the ceiling, and those are left over from when it was Circle Vision, the theater.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're left over from when
it
took its place. Yeah, they left them as an Easter egg on the attraction.
It figures.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that for a lot of the rides, though, too. I mean, I know another example. Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
What are the Buffalo?
Buff, Max, and Melvin.
Right. They're at the very end of the Winnie the Pooh ride, but you have to turn around and look behind you as you're going through the last door. Yeah.
That's when you're in front of the whirlpool of honeys in front of you.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Wake up,
wake up. Those heads aren't from the actual show. Those are the ones that are mounted on the walls in where the Pooh corner is, which used to be the mile-long bar.
Right. They're not. They weren't the animatronic ones. They're just static. Yeah. Right. Exactly. But still, kind of cool. I really wish that I was able to actually go on Country Bear Jamboree when I was in Florida earlier this year, but they are revamping it. They're putting new music in it and changing things up just like Disney does.
Yep.
So
Yep.
hopefully it'll still be a good show though. I always used to like it when I was a kid. It was so much fun.
I saw it when I was young and in the 90s. I saw it, and then I didn't go again to the park until I was 21 in 2001. So and it was already gone. So I was super excited when I went to Disney World and I got to see it because I have the soundtrack for the park for Disneyland on my phone, and it has all the music from Country Bear. So I knew all the songs.
Nice.
And I had seen videos. I was just super excited to see it in person.
Yeah. I do miss it all, but I still kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Winnie the Pooh. That ride it's so cute. It's just such a fun thing to be on, and the colors are amazing, and the story's cute. You know, it's Pooh's birthday and everything, and he has he has like kind of like a honey overdose, and he goes into a honey induced coma, so to speak. And has dreams of heffalumps and woozles, and then wakes up, and then it's his birthday party, and everybody showed up. So it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great.
You
little
can also
dark
see
ride.
the octopus from the Country Bear Jamboree Vacation in the Guardians of the Galaxy in California.
Oh, it's right
Adventure.
next to the Yeti. Right.
Yeah.
The
Right next to Harold.
Yeah, I actually noticed that when I was there when I went back on the ride on Sunday, because on Sunday they had the ride operating at a normal capacity, and I'll get to that in a little bit too, because that's part of the show I got coming up here. But anyway, they put me out on the upstairs loading area instead of the downstairs loading area, and you get to see a better view of the stuff that's on that upper shelf where what is his name? The Yeti's name again?
Harold.
Harold. I wanted to say Harry, but I know that wasn't quite
after
right.
the name of the computer system that runs the Matterhorn.
Okay.
And the octopus's name is Dolores, I think.
Now, see, I did not know that was part of Country Bears. That's the one thing that I was not aware of. But I did see the octopus.
Her and I can't remember the bear's name. He's playing like two different worlds. We come from two different worlds, because she's from the ocean. He's a bear, and she's like,
oh, I remember
her
that song
tentacles are
now.
like hanging on him, and he's like,
yes,
ouch. Like that.
I honestly thought the octopus was maybe like a remnant from the submarine voyage or something like that before they did the changeover to Nemo.
Yeah.
But yeah. Interesting fact.
Just a little bow.
Because why would there be an octopus in a show called Country Bear Jamboree, right?
Yeah,
but that's the great part about
like
it.
A snorkel and flippers, because it was the vacation, the Country Bear Vacation hoedown. So it was the overlay.
I think I remember that now. It was like a limited thing, right?
Yeah, it ran for like a period of years. It wasn't like a seasonal thing.
Right. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They had the three bears singing like the Beach Boys song, the "Wish We All Could Be California Bears."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. So it makes me wonder now. What are they doing with the Disney World one? I mean, I'm like wondering what kind of songs. I know they're going to try to modernize it a little bit more.
Yes,
but I worry. But at the same time, that's not my park. So
yeah, I just hope they don't change them too much. Like, I know they're going to have to replace animatronics because they have to update it, but I don't want them to really change how they really look. Like, if they want to do different music, keep like their similar outfits. Like, don't go too overboard with the change.
Right.
And
totally.
it'll be okay. Yeah.
Speaking of music, I didn't really have any news planned for this particular episode, but I think since the last episode that we did, the last of the Sherman Brothers has passed away, unfortunately. So may he rest in peace. Fantastic songwriters, been doing stuff for Disney, even back in like the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that.
Yeah, before Mary Poppins.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that just while I'm kind of gathering my thoughts for the next part of the episode?
Yeah, so Richard and Robert Sherman were referred to as the Sherman Brothers, and they wrote a lot of music for Disney movies, the park attractions. They wrote the Tiki 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 Room. They wrote It's a Small World. What's the other one?
Chimney, didn't they write that one for Mary?
Oh
Poppins
yeah, Mary Poppins. They wrote like pretty much all those.
Right.
And the attraction that's in Disney World that has you go around.
Oh, it's the Carousel of Progress. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wrote that. Parent Trap, Aristocats, Jungle Book, Charlotte's Web, which is not Disney. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, also not Disney.
Right.
Sword in the Stone, Happiest Millionaire, Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
Other park ones. Let me see here. Journey into Imagination.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Figment, right? Figment.
Yep, with Figment.
And the Great Movie Ride, I never got a chance to go on. It was something that I never was able to experience.
I went once, right before they closed it.
At California Adventures, or are you talking about the one that was in Florida?
In Florida.
Oh, okay.
They had the Great Movie Ride was there, and then you went through scenes of actual movies. So they had like Tarzan and Jane, but it was like live action movies, pre-animated Disney movie.
Right.
And then they took it out because
they even had stuff like Aliens, and they had had Wizard of Oz, and some stuff from the 50s, like gangster movies and stuff like that, I think. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah. Not very long lived, I guess, because it just didn't draw much attention or attraction. Yeah. So anyway, Richard Sherman, born June 12th, 1928, passed away May 25th. I think that was before the last episode we did, but I never included that in the news, and I meant to, because a lot of great history. And did they win? Do you know if they won any Academy Awards for their songs? I'm sure they probably had.
I think they did. I have almost 2 full pages about them in my book for their mini bio.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
They're together. They're under Sherman Brothers in the Imagineer section.
So on Wikipedia, it says together they received various accolades, including 2 Academy Awards and 3 Grammy Awards. They received nominations for a Laurence Olivier Award, for a BAFTA Award, and 5 Golden Globe Awards. And in 1976, they received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the National Media of the Arts in 2008. So yeah, they've been around. They're just some seriously talented people, but
yes.
They will sorely be missed, because Disney legends, unfortunately nowadays, are getting up there, and there's really the inevitable happens. It's death and taxes, right? So anyway, moving along. No more sad news. All right, so the adventure continued on Saturday. What else did I notice? Okay, the walls around the Haunted Mansion and Tiana's Bayou, formerly Splash Mountain, I feel like they've gotten bigger, like they've expanded. And I did mention on the last show that I did that the Critter Country portion of Disneyland is completely blocked off right now.
Oh, no Winnie the Pooh?
No Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh's been it's been blocked off for a while, and obviously there's really not much else beyond that point, except for the entrance to Splash Mountain and the little store that's right outside of the Winnie the Pooh attraction.
Pooh Corner,
right? Excuse me. And so right now the walls go all the way up to the Hungry Bear restaurant, but apparently in the beginning of July, they are going to be pulling them even further back and closing the Hungry Bear for the final parts of the construction for Tiana's Bayou. And also they're going to be pulling the wall even past the path that goes off to Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, so you can't go to Galaxy's Edge there?
Not from that path, no. You can still go through the 2 entrances that are in, I think, Frontierland, right behind Big Thunder Mountain. But
heck, they might as well just put the wall by the exit to Haunted Mansion. That just blocks out that whole back end.
I know.
Are they feeding the Hungry Bear into?
I have no idea. I really don't know. I just saw in an article, and I included it in. Or maybe I didn't see it in an article. Maybe I just heard it from somebody else's channel that they were going to be closing that, and Disney did confirm that in the beginning of July they're pulling the walls back even further. So that way, by that point, basically anything past Harbor Galley, which is where you can get the lobster rolls and the sourdough bread clam chowder bowls. One of the places you can get a sourdough bread clam chowder bowl.
The secret pathway there to go around.
Yeah, that'll probably be blocked off too, because that goes into that path area. So
it comes out by Davy Crockett canoes.
Yeah, so I think anything beyond that point is going to be closed, and the walls basically go all the way around that pathway in front of the Haunted Mansion, and all the way to Tiana's restaurant. So you know where the band plays, in that sitting area where it is now Tiana's restaurant. It used to be I want to
Where you get the mint juleps? The
Yeah,
French
right outside
Quarter?
the French Quarter. It used to be the French Quarter, but now it's Tiana's. The
Let me update
place.
This is why I wait. I wait until things are done. Then it's part of history, because all
Right.
this trying to guess for the future just.
Well, the great thing is, though, is that because it's still themed towards New Orleans, the menu is pretty much the same. It's just that they changed the name of the items. That's really about all that's like. It's different. They still have mint juleps, and while I was down there, I had lunch one day at the Bengal barbecue.
Yeah.
Love the Bengal barbecue.
Love that. Did you see the monkeys?
No, I didn't look for
They're
monkeys.
carved into the tree behind the cashier.
Oh no, I didn't see that. I did mobile order. I did a mobile order, so I literally just walked up, gave him my number, and I walked away. So I didn't take time to really look.
What flavor did you get?
No, I got the pork belly skewer and the one of the beef skewers. They have two different types of beef skewers, but the drink that I got was called a jungle julep, and it was delicious. It's a slushy kind of drink, kind of like the soft frozen lemonades, but it has a combination of like lemon and mint and like one other flavor as well, and it was really, really, really good. And I would think that it would be like, oh my god, it's like way too sweet, I'm gonna pucker up, but no, it was a really refreshing drink, and I was very, very happy. It's kind of like a dark reddish color when it's all done. Did you look it up? I can see you're looking on your computer.
I can see it. Julep would typically indicate presence of bourbon. There is none here.
No.
Remember, we're in Disneyland.
Yeah, I know. Even though they do serve alcohol in other places now, they do not serve it at the Bengal barbecue.
Pineapple, orange, lemon, and grape.
Yes. There you go. Oh, grape. Yeah, that's probably what made it so dark. But yeah, it was really, really yummy. And I thought it was just going to be, because it's a julep, I thought they were just going to serve it over ice, but it's like I said, it's like a slushy drink.
It's slushy.
Yeah, really nice on a warm day. So highly, and I don't know if they serve it anywhere else, but definitely at the Bengal barbecue. So if you guys are visiting there, get one. It's good. All right, so I digress. So basically, I was talking about the walls around New Orleans Square. So yeah, the back of Tiana's restaurant where the band plays, right behind their stage is where the wall begins, and then it ends, all the way back towards the Hungry Bear. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and Lisa and I were actually talking about this yesterday. I think yesterday or the day before, and she's wondering if maybe now the queue for the Haunted Mansion is going to really extend more towards where that like fountain centerpiece was, right in between Tiana's restaurant and the Haunted Mansion itself.
Get rid of the outside queue area outside the wall, like where they have people on the rope.
Yeah, and there was a lot of unused space out there for a while, and I know that they used that area at one point especially when they do the Haunted Mansion holiday layover for Halloween and Christmas, they pull the line outside of there and they do it all, kind of like in the back towards where the New Orleans Square train station is.
Well, and then they had Jack and Sally out there for meet and greets.
Right. Yes. And sometimes they even have Jack and Sally up on the balcony in the Haunted Mansion too, like on the second floor. That's always a fun thing to watch. But anyway, just a lot of stuff blocked off. So I've really only ever seen some concept art here and there. So I'm not 100% certain about how exactly it's going to look when it's done, or how much of that space is going to be utilized, and what's still going to remain after everything is said and done.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what the results are. Other than that, Saturday was amazing. The weather was perfect. The crowds were minimal. Lots of pictures, lots of videos. I actually put a video montage of my entire trip up on TikTok, Instagram, and also on Facebook. I should do it on YouTube as well. I should put it on this channel, make it like a short. Isn't that what YouTube calls them, is shorts?
Reels.
Reels? I thought Reels is Facebook and Insta.
Is it just called Shorts?
I think it's Shorts.
I
on
call
YouTube.
all of them Reels.
It's fine. It's really fine. It's just a short. It's like a little more than a minute long. I might have to condense it if I do that, but it was fun. I really liked it. You watched it. You said you thought it was really
Yeah.
fun to watch. So and it was a lot of fun making it. I love doing montage videos. They're a lot of fun to do. I don't want to say fun anymore, but it was fun. All right. Day 2. Again, the motivation. I was sluggish getting up. Got to the park. Boom, energy hit. But day 2 was actually a day at California Adventure, and I just realized that day that I'm like, you know what? I never gave away any business cards to help promote the channel and everything, or to help promote the podcast. So I started thinking, like, how am I going to be able to talk to people about this in line? Because a lot of the times when I was speaking to people in line, I was meeting people that had either, it was their first time visiting, or they hadn't visited in over a decade. So how do you try to sell a podcast to somebody who just really doesn't go to the park all that often, right?
Yeah.
Like, with you, it's like, do you like fun facts? That's an easy question,
Yeah.
right? But you ask somebody like, hey, do you like podcasts? And like, not everybody likes podcasts. Not everybody listens to podcasts.
I would think it'd be easier to sell this to somebody who isn't a super Disney fan or goes a lot, because the people who do go a lot follow 65 other Disney podcasts.
That could be true. I never thought about it that way, but I see your point, and I think I just kind of got cold feet a couple of times until I went on Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Now, I did go on that ride on Saturday, and I forgot to mention on Saturday, I'm super sorry about this, Kevin and Amanda Richardson. They were both at Disneyland, or at DCA on Saturday. And I was going to meet them at Disneyland, but apparently they decided to do the day at Disney California Adventures, because they were there with other family members, and that was the day that they had reserved at that park. So I hopped over and I joined them, and few of us from the party went on that ride, and I was able to, even though they were already in the queue, I think it was Richard and his two, Amanda's cousins, but he was in line with them because...
Cousins-in-law.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. But Amanda and her mom did not want to go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, now I'm all alone. Let's call this the Josh Show. Oh, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's so many Easter eggs in line for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I have no idea if anybody can hear me right now. I'm assuming they can. Lots of Easter eggs in the queue area for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and it has to do with the MCU, so they're all MCU Easter eggs.
Okay, can you hear me?
Can hear you now. I thought it was my Wi-Fi, and I was like, oh no.
No, this has happened before, unfortunately. I think StreamYard has a little bit of an issue when I post things on the screen, like images or sometimes even audio. I don't know why it happens. It just happens, and it makes me lose connection with my audio, and I'm not really happy about it, but what am I going to do about it, right?
Yeah, at least you caught it.
I know. So how much did you hear?
I missed the last maybe 15 seconds.
Okay. So did you hear me say that Kevin was already in line and that the elevators were not working?
I didn't.
Okay.
I heard you tell earlier. I didn't hear it now.
So apparently they were in line. It was a 90-minute standby, and I was talking with Amanda and her mom outside of the ride, just chilling and relaxing and catching up and stuff. And we were chatting for probably like almost an hour before Kevin finally sent her a text and said, "We are just now getting into the building." And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take even longer now. So I said I could probably use the Fast Pass, or I said it again, the lightning lane that I have on my phone from the ride that broke down at Disneyland earlier today and get on this and out of it quicker than they could. And she's like, well, if you want to go on it, then just go on it. I'm like, you know what? I think I will. So I hit the lightning lane. I got in. And as I was getting inside the building, there they were in the standby side on the left of me. And I'm like, hey, guys.
I know you.
Yeah. And they made an announcement right around that time that said that apparently only 2 of the 6 gantries, the lifts that are available on the ride, were working at that time, which is the reason why it was taking so long for the people to get through the queue. But eventually we got inside. Both of us did the pre-show, and I just kind of waited at one spot and had them catch up with me, and we ended up riding it together. And let's see, I think I have a ride photo of it here, which is another part of the show that I'm getting to. Kevin and I are sort of like in the middle row, sort of dead center there. We're the second people from the left in there. And the cousins are over there giving, like, rock and roll signs and peace signs and stuff like that. But fun ride. It's always an amazing show to watch because it is a show because they give you a great pre-story. Rocket, is going to bust you guys, or is going to bust his friends out from the what's his name? Benicio del Toro.
The collector.
The collector. That's what I was trying to go for. I didn't want to try to pronounce his full name. Tannelier something or other. Yeah. But and then you get in the elevator, and then they kill the power. The Guardians escape, and then you're part of the adventure. There's great music with it. It's all like 80s rock and roll stuff, and my generation. It's so much fun. It rocks. Totally rocks.
I was listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack on my way home today.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I've got a lot of the songs from that on my playlist too.
It's funny because we call it the soundtrack, but all it is
it's just songs from
cassette.
Exactly. And funny thing is, a lot of those songs are from my generation, but it's not a lot of stuff that I actually ever listened to. But I listen to it now because of the movie. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, on Sunday, I went back and I was talking about how am I going to talk to people about the podcast and see, to get people interested. I went on Guardians of the Galaxy again, and I used my lightning lane again. And I only did lightning lane for this particular trip because I was by myself and I wanted to hit as many things as I could. Normally, I don't usually need it, and even for this trip, I probably could have gone without it because the crowds were so minimal that the ride times were not really that long. And one of the benefits of being on a solo trip is that you can take single riders lines, and it's just, you might as well just be using it as a lightning lane because it's just as quick, sometimes even quicker. And even those rides that actually don't have light or single rider lines, if you're just standing around and they're like, we need one person, and you just raise your hand and then they pull you way up front and you get to skip a lot of people. So there's lots of advantages to being, by yourself when you're riding.
And you can go wherever you want to eat, and you can go to whatever attraction you want next.
Yes, you can do it. You are your own tour guide. It is so cool.
I have not been solo yet.
Dude, it's so fun. It's just so fun.
Although,
you know what?
My wife with me places. So.
You and I need to go on a trip. I've even told Jerry this. Jerry and I need to go on a trip there. I think it would be a lot of fun. It'd just be.
Oh yeah.
We could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. Okay, so anyway,
yes.
On the ride, in the line, I got an idea. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be in an elevator full of people, right?
Yeah.
They're trapped. They can't go anywhere. They are going to hear what I have to say. So, as the cast member got us all buckled in and they're giving their final spiel and the doors closed, I said, all right, everybody, make it a good photo. It's going to go on my podcast on Tuesday at 6 p.m. And they're all like, woo! I'm like,
nice.
Yeah, it worked. So I had a handful of business cards. We went on the ride. Everybody was super energetic and cheerful. This is the ride photo, if you guys are watching, of everybody. Everybody threw their arms up for the most part. And it was just a very energetic car. I don't know if it was because that's how they were planning to do it or if it's because of what I said, but it made the ride just that much more entertaining. And at the very end of the ride, I was waiting for them at the end of the stairwell. We had to walk all the way downstairs, and I just grabbed my pile of business cards, and I said, Tuesday at 6 p.m., Tuesday at 6 p.m., Tuesday, and you get a business card, and you get a business card. So if you guys are actually listening or watching, and you actually were on that ride with me, I told you I'd throw it up there, and you'd be able to see the picture. And now there's a couple of people that said, you know, the pictures are free right now, right? You don't have to pay for them, and you don't have to show it. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Not all pictures, but the ride photos, at least for this particular weekend, were complimentary.
Huh.
Yeah, so when you go in and you buy a photo pass, or you go or buy a Genie Plus. Genie Plus includes photo pass, which means you can usually download all the photos from the rides, and any place a photographer is at, they can scan it and it goes to your Disneyland app, and you can get the high quality pictures with all the little funny little characters added and stuff. But before I bought the Genie Plus, it actually gave a little warning at the very beginning saying, hey, if you're just doing this for the ride photos, these are complimentary. So Space Mountain, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Radiator Spring Racers, Incredicoaster, and I feel like I'm missing one more that had a ride photo. And I can't remember what it is. But anyway, all of those ride photos were free. So anybody who was in the park that day did not have to pay a dime to get it downloaded. All they had to do is enter the code into the PhotoPass, and it was there. So, yes, I knew that was happening, and for those of you who informed me of that, I appreciate your knowledge of it that day. But I did actually know about that, and I thought that was very cool of Disney to offer something like that. And here are, speaking of ride photos, this was my Space Mountain ride photo from day one. I had this gentleman in front of me who was 6'4" tall. I know because I asked him. I'm like, dang, you're a tall dude. I'm going to have to lean over to get my face in the picture. And unfortunately, I just leaned in the wrong direction, and I still got my face blocked by his head. So if you guys are just listening only, catch it on the video playback on YouTube, because it will not be on Facebook, but you'll be able to see it from there. I'll probably also post these on social media as well. And then I also have one for the Incredicoaster. And Josh, I know I was showing you this earlier, but I thought it was interesting that they had this one particular row that had one seat available only, just the seat on the right of the coaster. And on the left, it was just this box that was kind of built into the seat. And you made a comment, it might be something about like weight distribution or something like that, or maybe just something that just wouldn't fit on the car normally, so they had to sacrifice a seat.
It could be something that the car actually uses for the roller coaster part, and it's underneath there.
Maybe
emergency backup brake or something. I don't know.
Or it could even be what weighs the train, because I know that they actually weigh each train before it goes into the loop, because it depends like how much speed goes into the loop before it goes in. There's a block brake section before it happens. You can feel yourself slow down just a tiny bit before you hit the loop, and I think it has to do with the weight distribution and on a per train basis. That is my nerdy coaster side talking, but it does emerge every once in a while. And then I also had a picture done at Radiator Spring Racers, another great one to do single rider. I think a couple people that were in line with me were single riders as well. And I told, these guys were all together. So the two in the front seat with me, they were together, and then the three in the back seat were all a group as well. And I said that I would post this one on the podcast as well. So if you guys are watching, there it is. Told you I'd do it. I gave them the QR code because I had run out of business cards. I didn't realize that when I was handing them out at Guardians of the Galaxy that I had both stacks of Main Gate Magic business cards and my JDB Voices business card in there to promote my voice acting stuff. And I just grabbed the stack, and eventually I started handing out my JDB Voices business card instead. And I'm like, whoa, sorry, wrong card. Give me that one back. It's not going to take you to the podcast. So I had to give them the code on my phone. So,
but you do have a link to your podcast, right, on your website?
Oh yeah, well, I don't have a website up yet. I have the URL, I have the domain, I own it. I just haven't created the site yet. But on Facebook, it has links to everything. It has links to Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that kind of stuff as well. So Facebook's kind of like my webpage right now.
And JDB Voices isn't.
JDB Voices. Now, you know what? I can't remember if I actually put I may have updated it a while back. But, ever since I've started doing this podcast and I'm doing all this extra research and stuff like that to come up with episode ideas and news and things like that, things have been kind of a blur. I don't quite remember if I did, but I'm going to my site right now. I think I may. Yeah, you know what? I did add a section. that is called just My Podcast, and it has a link to my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You know what? I need to add one for TikTok because I think I had created a TikTok since I updated the site. So, but yeah, my JDB Voices website does have the podcast information in there. Thank you for asking me. That was a good question. I was totally oblivious to the fact that I put that in there. Okay, what else? Oh, there was one other thing, and I know I'm getting short on time here. We're about 5 minutes away from the end of the hour. There was one particular thing on the trip that I was like super, I just kind of caught out of the corner of my ear, actually, so to speak. When I was going into Toontown, I wanted to go and ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which, by the way, is another fantastic ride. It looks like such a little kid ride from the videos and stuff like that, and it pretty much is, but the projections they use and the trackless vehicles, the way that they're programmed to make this ride just seem completely amok, it's done so beautifully, and it's a lot of fun. It's just it kind of jerks you around because there's all these different scenes. You're in a Western at one point, then you're in an amusement park, then you're in this gigantic tornado, and then you're in this like weird factory, and then you're back in the city, and then you're at a park. It's like it jumps all over the place. But it utilizes the same space for multiple environments. Like there's one point where you're in a jungle, and then something happens, and you fall down this waterfall, and then your car turns around, and that same room that was the jungle is now the bottom of the sea. It's just using projections. They change the room, and it's so inventive and so creative. That's the part that I love about how they create these rides and what they do to make it not only very interactive and very beautiful to watch, but so smart too, to make it feel like you are actually in a cartoon, because that's what the ride's kind of all about. You enter a cartoon for the ride. So
almost kind of like what Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin tried to do back in the 99. Wait, when did that open?
What did they do?
You were supposed to be in a cartoon.
Oh,
Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin.
Oh,
have you been on it?
I mean, I've been on it, but
yeah,
it's just you enter Toontown, and you're technically already in a cartoon.
Yeah, you're in a cartoon,
so
but they make it so you spin around like you're actually part of his escape.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, that kind of leads to this particular part of the episode, the very end, that I wanted to have everybody listen to, because this is actually something you don't need to see, unlike the ride photos and stuff that I was showing earlier. But as part of the remodel for Toontown, they recently updated it, like about a year ago. They reopened it. They had, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway open a little bit later, and, lots of videos, lots of pictures. But the one thing that they really don't tell a lot about is the audio that's throughout the park and also in Toontown itself. And the one thing that I thought was super awesome is that when you go into Toontown, you are going under the Disneyland Railroad tracks, right? You're just to the right of the Toontown Disneyland Railroad station. And as you're going under the tracks, you are technically entering the cartoon land of Toontown. Before they did the remodel, it just had the words Toontown, and there was a couple of lights that shined on the sign, and you would see the counter of the population just kind of spinning out of control, and the numbers just constantly changing, in a very wacky way. They still have all that stuff there, but the one thing that I never really realized until apparently the reopening of Toontown, which of course I didn't hear until really this particular trip, was the audio as you're entering Toontown. And I tried to record some with my phone. I hope it plays well. I hope it doesn't cut off my audio when I play it, but I'm going to play it all for you here right now. Let me just turn up the volume a little bit before I do it, but here it goes. Just kind of... There's some crashing noises and stuff like that. Okay, and that's the Disneyland Railroad above. That's when the train was going by, but I kind of had to stop at that point. But it puts you in that feeling like it's not only a visual thing, but now you can also hear everything that's going on as well. And
Yeah.
they don't only do this with Toontown, but they also do this with Galaxy's Edge. When you go into Galaxy's Edge, you are supposedly on another planet. You're on a planet called Batuu. And Batuu, it's in a galaxy far, far away. And they have spatial audio just like what you heard for Toontown that plays above you that makes it sound like there's just spaceships, flying in and out of the ports and zooming overhead and speeders that are like going around corners and stuff like that. It's a lot of the stuff that a lot of people don't really, I think, pay attention and listen to, but I thought it was a really neat touch and something, again, that just brings all that kind of magic and immersiveness into you. Let's see, Patricia, I'm kind of backed up on comments here. Let's see, Patricia said Guardians is Corey and I's favorite ride. We went on it more times than all the other rides combined. I love it too. I think it's my favorite ride at California Adventure. It's a ride that I could probably stay on all day. Like I could literally sit on that elevator and ride it all day and not have a problem. Just bring me my food and drink and I'll be good. Let's see. Patricia also said, what's she say? Cross-link your voiceover site in this podcast when you get to that point. Yeah, we talked about that already. I need to update it a little bit more, but thank you. I will definitely take advantage of that and make sure that people are aware of it on both ends. And that is it. I think I've talked your ears off at this point, but it was such a fun trip. It's hard not to talk about all the neat stuff that happened. Josh, buddy, thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate you stepping in at last minute to be my my helper. Mimi will be back next week, and I believe Lisa will be back as well. And next week we will actually have a new special guest. It'll be oh my gosh, Kevin. I know I'm Kevin Thompson. I knew his first name. I was trying to remember the last name. And Kevin, if you watch this, I apologize. My brain is just fried right now. But Kevin Thompson was an Ewok in Return of the Jedi, and he also played an Ewok in the 2 TV movies back in the 80s. It was The Battle for Endor and what's the other one, Josh?
Caravan of Courage.
Caravan of Courage. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
And if you're a fan of the Garbage Pail movie, he was in
yes.
Garbage Pail Kids.
And he was also in
Alligator.
Weird Alligator. Yeah, he was also in Weird Science. He was the guy inside of the Chet puppet thing at the very end where he got transformed into this like ugly looking creature. He's been a lot of stuff. If you guys don't know about him, take a look on IMDb. You'll see all of his accolades on there. He's done not only stuff inside of costumes, but he's also done live action stuff too, where he's acted in TV shows and movies alike. And super nice guy. I've met him before at other Mouse Cons and Star Wars conventions, and looking forward to have him and his wife will be on too. Tracy will be on as well. So they're going to be talking about all their experiences and adventures with the Star Wars universe and how he how his adventures on Endor went. All right, I'm losing my voice. It's the end of the hour. I think it's time to wrap it up and say goodbye. Again, Josh, appreciate you, man. Always, appreciate the backup. I might call on you again for future episodes. Never know. It's always nice to have you as somebody who can step up and help me out because it filled the time really, really well.
It did.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And again, if you've missed it, you can find all the information about future episodes and previous episodes on my Facebook and YouTube channels. All the previously recorded shows are there. If you are listening only, you can find them on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podcast Index. And you can also find all the latest and greatest information also on Instagram and even a few other fun things on our TikTok channel as well. If you are listening to this and you have not subscribed to our Facebook channel, please, 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 I need a few more fans.
You're at 76.
76. Wow, I get like what, 8
4.
people? Huh?
8,
no, I was
yeah,
at 68 earlier today, so I've earned a few more. So thank you so much for those who are supporting me and continue to support me. I hope you love this content. If you ever have any questions or you want suggestions for future shows, please send me a message, add a comment. I'm happy to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.